And remember, ladies, for all of your comfort and round the house wear, lingerie, comfy clothes, make sure you visit quickvisits.com. That's QUIKVISITS.com for all of your lounge wear, lingerie wear, sport wear, workout wear, athletic wear. Make sure you go to quickvisits.com. They'll be there for you, and you'll love that. That first one, when you saw the black players, going into the bigger schools, leaving the HBCUs, and then you don't see any more. Eddie Robinsons and Jake Gaithers surface anymore. I get all of that, and everybody's blaming taking all our talent. See, the thing is, when I went to the Magic City Classic, Alabama is a hotbed for football, and Alabama is a hotbed for college football. Alabama is a hotbed for football in general, just like Texas, even though Texas has professional teams. Alabama conducts its business of football without a professional team. And the spirit of football in Alabama is rich, runs deep. If you've never been to Magic City Classic, I'm here to tell you, man, it is probably 2 or 3 times the size of the Florida Classic. Same atmosphere, but definitely a different monster. Welcome, everyone, to the live edition again of not just another sports show, also affectionately known as No Jazz, NOJASS. I decided to just go ahead and turn this thing on, while waste a whole lot of good conversation Tank and I are having behind the scenes about the fact that he started Lamar this evening, but we're going to get into what we were talking about in a minute. We just want to make sure you all are liking, commenting, subscribing, and joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Those call names on all those are NOJASSSHOW on Facebook, live. NOJASSSHOW on YouTube. The No Jazz Show, THE. NOJASSSHOW on Instagram. No Jazz Show on X, Twitter, and of course TikTok. NOJASSSHOW to all our TikTok people out there. What's going on? And we're live, so you can chat on Riverside if you decide to chat with us. But without further ado, I am your host, KD. And to what would be when we edit this, so I'm just going ahead and say both of them. My left, but live on my right, is my partner, always with me, never against me, unless we talking about something in sports. Because sometimes, sometimes you just don't agree. But at any rate, Tank, what's going on, Tank?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? How y'all feeling?
I give you some cheer. I give you a little cheer. Yeah. I had a little. Me and my boy. I got to give my boy. Matter of fact, I got to give my boy a shout out. It was his birthday. Matter of fact, I got two boys. It was his birthday. My boy Pete. Happy birthday, Pete.
Happy birthday, Pete.
His birthday was a week and a half ago, something like that. I didn't give him a shout out. Happy birthday to my boy Block, Chris Brower. His birthday was like yesterday or 2 days ago or something like that. Happy birthday to my daughter, Rapture. What's going on, baby girl? It's your birthday today.
All birthdays.
And then by the time all these Scorpio season. Then by the time this show ends at midnight, it's gonna be Halloween, and it's gonna be my like best female friend, sister type birthday. My girl Kendi. Well, y'all know her as LaKendra, but I know her as Kendi. LaKendra Davis, Kendi Davis. Well, you know what? Hold on. My bad. She's not Davis anymore. Oh my goodness. She go. Wait a minute. Let me look it up right quick. Lord have mercy.
Okay.
Yeah, she got married. Moxie, Kendi Moxie, LaKendra Moxie now, it'll be her birthday by the time this show ends. But at any rate, and I knew that because that's the name of that hotel. I kind of like that. But at any rate, make sure you, again, comment, like, subscribe, share, and do all those things. And while we are on here, make sure you definitely are definitely are affiliated, and go check out our sponsors, Light Snack, LYTE SNACK, for all of your food delivery needs. Any of your breakfast, lunch, dinner needs, make sure you order from Light Snack. And make sure when you order from Light Snack, you order a lot of those and get some of those. Magic City Wings. And of course, their motto is don't forget to lick the sauce. Also, you know what? And I'm telling you, I know they sold out, boy. Halloween coming up, all these Halloween parties, for all of your lingerie needs. Because I'm gonna tell you something, but you ladies really use your birthdays and Halloween to bring out your inner vixen.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you definitely visited the QUIKVISITS quickvisits.com for all your lingerie needs and all of your sleepwear, because they have that type of wear too. But at any rate, this is not the fifth quarter. We don't call it the fifth quarter. We call it No Jazz. It stands for not just another sports show. But we are in what will be the fifth quarter. And you probably just witnessed, and I'm not a fan, this is a race of champions, Miami Cap. You probably just witnessed the comeback of Lamar Jackson and the 28-6. I don't even know if I want to call it a rout, but at any rate, what we were talking about, and we're going to get to that game in a bit. We were talking about the fact that Tank actually started Lamar, and I actually have Lamar in my fantasy. I didn't start him because I didn't think they were going to give him a lot of reps, but he was definitely ready to go tonight.
Yeah.
And Tagovailoa needs to get ready to go too.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I started Lamar tonight. I'm glad I did. I just had a gut feeling that, hey, he's going to come back with a vengeance, not just because he's been missing time, but because, hey, it's go time for them. They came into the game 2-5, and they didn't want to wind up at 2-6. So I expected him to play well. I figured he'd be a little rusty, but at the same time, it was the Dolphins. Another reason I'm glad I started him is because last week on my fantasy team, Lamar was out hurt, Sam Darnold was on a bye, and Michael Penix was out hurt. So I had no quarterback last week.
Ooh, wow.
And I had another 4 players who were either on byes or injured. So I got wore out. But that's neither here nor there going forward.
Well, I didn't play the strategy because I wasn't paying attention. Probably I'm still suffering from some Magic City Classic, not Magic City Wings, Magic City Classic, and my Cowboys weekend hangover. So I'm probably really still just trying to get myself together. But at any rate, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, pretty much a few of those guys were home tonight.
Yeah, Mark Andrews.
Yeah, Andrews were home. Don't even talk about Mark Andrews. They took him out of the game for Kohler, and I didn't hit my parlay by 8 yards. But we're not going. Like my parlay was on time. It was ready. I needed 8 more yards. I needed Mark to get 1 catch. But I guess it was like you've done enough with 2 TDs. But I did play him in that regard, and they didn't give him his 8 yards. But shout out to Las Vegas and the way you all handle business. But I definitely was on that. Long football weekend for us. We could discuss it, but I don't really have a lot to talk about. And I don't even think Tank has a lot to talk about. We probably moving into next week, both of us, to be honest with you.
I'll just say
I'm on the
this.
Monday night, man. When it comes to my team, I'm gonna let that be. I can just get to the topic.
Yeah, I'll just say this about this last week's games. It was the worst matchup of slate of games that I've seen in the NFL in quite some time. Only one game didn't end in someone getting beat by double digits. And the one game that I thought was going to be good wound up being my boys getting whooped. So that was a horrible weekend for the NFL as far as quality of games and just bad matchups all the way around.
Quality of games, bad matchups, bad show ups. But you know what? There were 15 teams that won.
Yeah.
We can't knock them for winning. But speaking of winning, let's just move right on in, man. Let's just move right on in. Boy, hey, I'm gonna tell you something too. I want to say it was like 44-6. Alabama State had Alabama A&M by halftime. It was something silly. That was crazy. I'll get to that, man. I'll get to that because there's something I want to say in regards to that, and that's probably gonna end up being my final word. But we're gonna begin. Like I said, boy, it is that time of the year. A whole lot of NBA, Major League Baseball, and NFL. we're gonna start with this topic of high school athletes in Illinois are now eligible for college for NIL, and college athletes can now gamble on the sport. Enlighten me on that. Enlighten me on that. Tank. I mean, are they saying, hey, in this economy, we're gonna let you make all the money you can?
Yeah, and as far as the high school NIL, we talked about, and it was that particular guy that we talked about. His mother filing that suit the other week, and 2 episodes ago. That's the case that actually won and made that precedent, so that in Illinois, those players can get paid in high school
Okay.
sports now. And I told you my feelings on it. I think it's a bad precedent, it's a bad idea. I don't like that because again, eventually, and somebody's gonna do it. It'll trickle down all the way to Pop Warner. Just like you remember, just like the commercial they have where the kids' the names are being called out, the first grade graduation or whatever, and all the kids are named after whatever team is whatever company is sponsoring them. Like, hey,
Right.
this is Sherwin Williams painting coming across the stage now, or this is Hennessy Toyota walking across the stage now. I
Right.
just I just think it sets a bad precedent, and it also takes away from what we look at and what we think of as possibly being the last bastion of innocence and playing the game just for fun, for the love of it. Obviously there's always a goal that you have when you're playing. If you're playing in high school, you are playing because you want to get a scholarship to go to college, and it progresses. But at the same time, most players aren't going. And for them, they're playing because they love the game and they know, hey, at the end of this season, my senior year, I'm never gonna put on pass again. But I have these memories. And I think it taints the entire thing. And not only that, and this also figures into the college football as far as letting the athletes bet. You put it you possibly no, not possibly, you do put it in to where, hey, there's some guys who are putting money on these high school games, like, hey, look here, boy, you need to do this for us to win, or you need to, hey, when you break free after you score 2 touchdowns, your third one, I need you to pull a hamstring. I need you to step out of bounds. I need you to fumble. I don't mind you winning, but I don't need you to win by more than X amount of points. So, you can have point shaving come in. Money comes in and can just taint the whole thing.
Right.
I think it should just be, hey, you out there playing, representing your school, representing your family, and hey, whatever happens, happens. But when you put the money in, it really makes things, the integrity of the game changes because
What so I just wanna got something going on in the back. Don't worry about it. Maybe if I sit back here. So the kids in college have an opportunity to gamble on the game,
yes,
meaning you can be a college athlete and
you can
play
gamble.
the sports bet.
Yes.
You can get a little Vegas tag. You can go to Harrah's. You can do that. Okay. So the thing is, but they're not allowing the kids who actually are collegiate athletes to gamble, or
No,
are they?
they can. No, they can gamble.
So
The starting
so they are
quarterback at the
allowing them to
University of
manipulate
Miami can
games.
play. That's what it gets down to. You can bet on pro sports. You can bet on college sports. It's
Yeah, I mean
it's
that's always been something you could do. So what you're saying is the collegiate athlete can bet on pro
mhm.
sports and bet on college sports, and you're saying that that same collegiate athlete is probably going to get in a game.
Hey man, if you get in trouble with a bookie, you can do that. You wind up doing that, or you got guys just like the NFL is letting guys bet on games. I mean, it's not letting them bet on games, but you think about it. You calling around, that, hey man, who is it? We East Texas State, and we playing Miami. We know we're not gonna win. We just need to make sure that we know we're getting blown out. But the
Right.
spread says we supposed to get beat by 55. But wait a minute, we only getting beat by 50. Me as the safety, I need to make sure this dude get behind me and get this touchdown. Otherwise, I'm losing my money because we supposed to. I bet on us. I bet that we would win, that we would lose by more than 55.
So what you're saying is hypothetically, this gives them more incentive to do it, and it's not against the rules.
Right. Because
Okay.
I mean, I just think it's bad. Again, it messes with the integrity of the sport, and
Gotcha.
they can also bet on college on high on pro games as well. And you got a guy who was just graduated last year. He's a teammate. He's playing in the NFL now. He giving you some inside information. I'm sure the guy. I'm a rookie now. I'm calling back to my. I'm still talking to my teammates from last year. I'm giving them some inside betting, not intentionally, but we just man. Kelvin Smith, he pulled his hamstring. Last week, and he is out. He is definitely not going to be playing. And so, my tight end, he banged up too. They just not letting anybody know. Wait a minute, those are your top two offensive weapons. Y'all playing backups this week? Yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy, man. NFL, it's crazy how you get banged up like that. Okay,
Right.
you just gave me some insider trading without giving me insider trading. You know what I mean? Just in conversation. So I'm going to bet on this team. All of a sudden, you start seeing money lines on games that are crazy. Wait a minute, how did they do this? How did they know this? Because guys talk. And if we were teammates, we're friends or we're teammates, we were 1 year apart. Now I'm telling you what's going on with me in the league. You aren't looking at it. I'm not looking at it as me telling you, hey, do this because, hey, man, I don't think we're going to pull it off this week because so and so is hurt and this is going on. You
Right.
just talking. You just talking. And next thing you know, that whole team, everybody on that team, on your former team, is putting money line on this game. And it's like, wait a minute. And, Vegas bookies look, man, why is all this action on this team all of a sudden? I think it messes with the integrity of the game, and you got guys who start going and get in trouble because the thing that makes gambling so bad for people who are athletes in particular, other people who have not just an addictive personality, but also are competitors and they're driven to win. Man, I'm down. I just lost $2,000. I know I can get it back. I'm gonna keep doing because Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, they're famous for betting all this money, but they're competitors. For them, it's not even winning the money; it's the winning the bet. So I just think that it's bad when you allow players to bet on games, especially in the sport that they're active in. The NFL doesn't allow you to do it, but
The NBA
college,
doesn't allow you to do it either, and that's funny
yeah,
that all that stuff going on with the NBA. I got to read more into that as far as what you're saying, as far as these kids.
allowing
That,
them to
that's a
bet.
very that's a very slippery slope because you're not taking care of yourself as a child,
Right.
and there's a lot of outside influence. This might even be a movie script, and I think it was a movie script one time, and the guy ended up getting killed. But anyway, you may be thinking that you need this help from this neighborhood guy.
Hmm.
We know those guys, or a coach, or anything. Anything in your amateur status that puts you in harm's way to believe that because when you're in a position of money, and when you're in a position to get money, everybody in your family tend to get sicker faster. The roof got a bigger hole in it. The radiator leaking a little bit more than it would be if all y'all was just straight broke. So, come on, man, do this for me. As a 24-year-old to 30-year-old, it's definitely different. Come on, man, do this for me when you 15, 18 years old or 19 years old of high school eligibility. So that's definitely something that the powers that be need to pay attention to because that's a very dangerous situation. And speaking of movie scripts, I don't know if you all remember, two of the most powerful, well, two impactful. I ain't gonna say most powerful, but two very impactful movies. And I'm not gonna have a hit refresh moment, but two very impactful movies that had something to do with gambling. One began with a dude shooting himself in the head, and that was The Last Boy Scout.
The Boy Scout, yeah.
And the other one began with the guy. He went in for reckless driving as well, but at the same time, crew went to prison for gambling. So we gotta understand. And I'm talking about The Longest Yard. So this stuff don't end well, and I'm pretty sure there are more that get away with it than there are get caught. And
Or we just don't, or the one we just don't, yeah, like you said, we just don't find out about it. All the ones who are doing it because it's been going on, but now it's out in the open and it's legal.
yeah, and I'm almost certain that I'm almost certain that sports themselves have to cover who they are as a sport and the integrity of the sport. Because what you don't want is gambling is at an all-time high, but you want gambling to always look regulated. You want it to look monitored. Like people have said if for a long time, man, you put the tons of gas X in my horse on my Greyhound. I know what you did. People manipulate gambling. Boxers fall all the time. Gambling on themselves. That's the main one. Can definitely gamble on themselves. So it's a very intriguing situation to watch, especially for something that we love. Because you use the word purity of the sport, and I kind of got to disagree with you on purity. I don't think the sport been pure.
Well, I said the integrity of the sport.
Integrity too.
Yeah.
I don't think the sport. I don't think sports had integrity even down to the Pop Warner League. Those kids are adults.
Yeah, but the appearance you at least want to have the appearance of it. When you tell them, hey, y'all can bet on these games, it goes out the window. You like, man, how did he miss that pass? He ain't dropped the pass all year. How did he miss that one? He was wide open in the end zone. They could have won.
Right.
When things happen, you start going back and you start analyzing and you start looking, wait a minute, how did he catch him? He is not that fast. He's a 4.6 guy. And Johnson runs a 4.2. How did he catch him? And it wasn't even at an angle. You start looking at things and hey, I think he missed that block on purpose. Maybe he did it, maybe he didn't.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing. You gotta be like me. Let me tell you straight up, man. I don't trust nobody. And I've been hitting my parlays because I've been gambling on the fact that they might be gambling. You know what I'm saying? I gamble on the fact that the game has no integrity anymore. I make my picks based on I think there's a possibility he may not really be trying to play today. That's how I see him. I make my purest picks on rookies, but if you 3 years or better, if you sitting on like 5 baby mamas, if I know you've been in Vegas a lot, hey, I bet
Yeah.
accordingly, baby. I
Yeah.
don't play around with you. You know who
Yeah.
you are.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I mean, it takes away from the appearance of things being on the up and up, and you start wondering, and you start thinking, or you start looking. You say, "Wait a minute, so and so," because you remember what was it, 2011 when they had the lockout, and all these players were taking out loans, high interest loans, because they ain't have any money. But you make 12 million a year. What you mean you don't have any money? You can't make it through three. You can't make it through 3 months without getting a check. You know, you look at these guys who, oh man, he's strapped financially. Hey, you start looking at some certain games that they lost or that were closer than they should have been, and you say, wait a minute, how many of these guys are in the financial bind right now? And
Hey,
you start looking at, man, I heard man, the Chiefs, man, I heard Patrick Mahomes had a gambling problem and a half, man. He paycheck to paycheck. Man, that might and you look and you say, man, that's how they lost those games to these teams that they had no
hey man,
business
you got
being
hey,
close to.
hey, hold on. You might wanna.
Well, that's
I know these are the
yeah,
names that stick
yeah,
out, and in your mind, that's a thing to say because he's the hot guy. But just say Yeoman
yeah.
Johnson, because
Yeah, Yeoman Johnson.
Yeoman Johnson, you have some up and up people who have a credible name, and right
Yeah,
now, I don't want you to because you said Jordan and Barkley, but their
yeah.
gambling habits ain't like
Yeah,
they ain't
yeah.
in
That was
Uncle
this.
Doodle,
That was
like
just
like like
that was
like
yeah. I'll just use his name as an example. I'm not implying that he's got anything. We already know they hadn't gotten blown out and whooped by teams that they had no business
right,
to.
right, right.
Anyway,
I
but
just don't want
yeah,
anybody. I don't want anybody like saying we throwing their name out there.
yeah. Just making a point.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. But
We do. Cause we do have. You use a movie name.
Willie Beeman goes out there and does
Yeah,
something like that.
Willie Beeman went out there. Hey
Yeah,
man, yeah.
yeah. But
Boy,
I
hey,
mean,
woo.
yeah. But and remember, you start thinking, hey, for the longest, they sports leagues didn't want to have anything to do with having teams in Vegas because of the appearance. Now in Vegas, we've got every major sports team with the exception of baseball, and baseball will be here in 2028.
They got NBA in Vegas now.
Oh, with the NBA, they're working on the NBA as well. They're building the
Male
NBA
NBA. They
facility.
got a women's NBA. They
Yeah,
got a women's WNBA. The
yeah,
male NBA.
yeah. They started building the NBA complex as well. So because they're working on either getting, I think it was Phoenix, trying to get them here, or if there's an expansion. We got baseball is on its way here in 2028. We
2028.
got, yeah,
And we got to stop too. You know what? That's another thing too. Let's just stop blaming Vegas, man.
yeah.
You got
Yeah, you got
everywhere.
the off. Yeah, you got it everywhere now. But the thing
You got
was,
it
they didn't
everywhere.
want they didn't want them here because of that. But
Yeah,
now and
don't
then
make
you
it look
got
like
the
Vegas gonna tank the situation because of
yeah
UNLV. Don't do that.
yeah yeah, and then we got all these offshore gaming things with platforms where hey, I want to bet where I live in Oklahoma. There's no betting gambling in Oklahoma. Well, let me go on my phone and place a bet, and you can do that. So it's a bad situation in my opinion because you can't regulate gambling. I'm sorry. You can't. You can put it out there that you're doing it, but you can't truly regulate. If a guy wants to go all in and doing stuff, and we have someone who we've got a couple of players who've already been suspended for gambling in the NFL, and they did it. They were in trouble because they were doing it on the premises as opposed to doing it at home. But it's just bad. I don't believe that you should
Trust
be
me,
letting these.
it's so easy to gamble.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so easy to gamble, and you are a person of faith. You know, like that game the other day in Alabama was just so much a blowout. In order to even be involved in the game, you said, "All right, let's bet they won't score 3 more touchdowns before the half."
Mm-hmm.
I bet two. And then you got your family down there. Oh yeah, I want to get in it too because they're bored, and they end up betting. And then you watching them betting, and you like, hey, I done bet with this person before, and I know how this person works. So you might wanna you this ain't all fun and game when you bet with this person. This
Yeah.
person is very serious. Like you might want to get it in writing if they renege on that bet because it's words and hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, like betting has become so it's just so nonchalant,
Yeah,
and that's
and
what
you
I'm just
do it, and the thing is, you do it as kids. And I say kids, I'm talking elementary school, and I'm not saying betting on sports as in elementary, but I'm talking about, hey, I know I can beat you if we race. Okay, how much you want to put on? I bet you can't beat me running. I bet
I
you
bet
can't.
you can't get me running.
Uh, yeah,
Pride and ego is the first bet. So you really got to be careful because betting.
I bet you 25 cents. Okay, let's do it.
I'm almost to the point now that you're saying that. I don't think anyone physically taught me how to gamble. I think
Yeah,
just life itself,
yeah,
the risk management part of it, just made me do it. But at any rate, let's go on to the next topic. Georgia Tech. We know you're a football guy. You like that football. Everything be coming out of Georgia. But when it's coming out of Georgia, it's good. Is Georgia Tech for real? I'm not going to answer that until uh, Thanksgiving weekend.
yeah. They play Georgia. Is it there? No, or is that the last game on the season?
Maybe the
Regular
last game on
season.
the season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
maybe
yeah,
the last game on the season.
yeah.
But that might be the only time I root for Georgia. But go ahead.
As of now, we got to. As of now, I have to go with Bill Parcells. You are what your record says you are. I mean, they have beaten everyone that's come against them. They've come back. They've come from behind. They whoop some people. Their quarterback he gets better by the week. When you say, well, he's not much of a passer, then he goes out this week, lights him up, throwing the ball, yardage and touchdown. Before, well, he's not really a mobile guy. He goes out and rushes for 100 yards. Whatever you say that he's not able to do as a quarterback, the next week he goes out and does it. And that team is, I think Tech has a team. They don't have a bunch of great individuals. Tech has a team. And if there's someone tells you, you'll forget that they're 8-0. They haven't been 8-0 since 1966. I mean, they've had some
I,
very
I,
good,
I guarantee you look that up.
yeah, because I'm thinking, wait a minute, they got to have been
So
8
it
and
ain't been
0.
8 in your lifetime.
Yeah. I remember the Black Watch defense. I remember the national championship team in 1990.
But never
They
been 8
didn't, yeah, and they were, and you like, man, 8-0, and they don't show any signs of not. When they beat Clemson, it was looked at as a oops or whatever. Now people were Clemson, not this, that, and the other. No, they beat Clemson. And it's not about where Clemson is proven to be not what we thought they were. No, they beat Clemson. They've beaten everybody. And they are in the driver's seat for the ACC championship. I mean, they 8-0. And I mean, you can't hold it, you can't fault them or start. I don't think you can go nitpicking everything about them. Now, are they for real as far as, hey, are they a legitimate title national championship team? Got to see a little bit more out of them.
8-0 don't make them.
What I'm
So
saying is,
hold on. Are you going off brand because what you're
yeah,
saying right now means that you don't take Indiana seriously?
true to I have to see something
Why?
else from them.
Why?
And,
Why?
and it's
You
because it's
need to see
Indiana.
another name.
It's because it's Indiana.
There you go. If it was
Yeah,
the Indiana basketball team, you wouldn't be saying all that, would you?
no.
If it was the Georgia Tech
The-
basketball team, you wouldn't be saying all that, would you?
Yeah, because Tech ain't really done nothing since Bobby Crimmins.
But at the same
But
time,
yeah,
you put
but you
come on.
would get you put a little more. But the reason I say that also about Georgia Tech is I want to see them. I think they're for real as far as possibly win. It's probably winning the ACC. But how would they perform against some of the top teams from some of the other conferences? Is what I would like to see. It's what I'm not
You're
sold
gonna get to
on
see
yet.
that with Georgia if
Yeah,
they
yeah,
hold on out.
yeah.
That's one of the great things about this season in Georgia Tech doing well. We
Hmm.
do get to get a real and this is not to say Georgia is anything, but just look at your own influence. Look at your own influence. You're influenced by the fact that Georgia Tech as a brand should not be beating Georgia this year, even if Georgia is not as good as they've been in past years, correct? You really feel like Georgia Tech is not good enough when they meet Georgia. They may not win that game, and if they don't win that game, and it goes SEC powerhouse, ACC is not. That's Georgia Tech is not a powerhouse. You're going to be able to use your football intuition and say, "I told you so." Instead of that, letting mono meet mono, game be game, and play the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to see them do it. And when I say I want to see them do it, not just to prove that they are who their record says they are, but also because I like Tech. I want Tech to do well. And I think that if I think for the voters and for the national audience, they need to see Georgia Tech beat a Georgia. I
Either
think
way,
that
though, either way, like if they get down to that, if they get down that far, last game of the season, and it matters, I don't think Georgia Tech will be out of the ACC game for the playing for the championship because
yeah,
that's a
they're gonna be playing
it
for it.
could affect them in the rankings.
Mm,
But the playoffs is expanded, and if it's close enough, I don't think they'll be hurt that bad by it. It'll just be one of those late season falls that they don't or possibly can't afford with from a positioning standpoint. Nevertheless, they got an opportunity to come back again
yeah.
and say, okay, y'all nicked us. We weren't prepared. Give us these weeks. We'll come back and get it right. So really, running the table, they have probably two opportunities to see if they can make this happen.
Mm.
Because the quarterback
And
is
if
not
they
that
do,
bad.
yeah, he's proven to be better than everybody thought that he was. Because we don't know he wasn't looked at as being some great player or whatnot before when the season started. But he is actually he's doing something that a lot of players don't do. He's getting better every week. And that's what I look at. When the team and the player is getting better every week, it's hard to go against them because wait a minute, that last week they did wait a minute, okay, this week he's proven he's gonna do better than he did the previous week. And as he goes, that team goes. And I think they are a true team, they're a true unit. And I like that. And I hope that if they're in the playoffs and once the playoffs start, just for me, I would love to see them don those uniforms, the home uniforms that they wore in 1990. I would love to see those, the dark, the blue and black and the gold. I would love to see that if
Mm-hmm.
if they once into the playoffs. But I think it's a good thing for the program, and it's also good for the ACC. Also, it's good to see certain teams doing well. And
I think they're definitely on schedule because this is just their cycle. It's not like I guess 8-0 is a different thing, but it's not like Georgia Tech doesn't show up every few years in football either.
yeah,
They're
but
not. They're not like we saw you and we won't see you again for 15 years. They ain't out, they didn't. Who was that? They're consistent. They're not like Boise State.
Yeah, Georgia Tech used to be, and I forget it was the old AD who had said that Tech was, if they're 8-4 every year. This was years ago. He said if they're 8-4 every year, they're a successful program. He never looked at Tech as being possibly even being a top tier conference team, and he was comfortable and he was glad he was fine with 8-4 or 9-3. But this coach, I think he's comfortable with going undefeated.
I mean,
8-4, been there, done that. I'm
God
trying to go
forbid you lose
undefeated.
your job, you need to get comfortable. You can lose your job on one game, and if you lose it to the right person, school. So I'm very proud of GT to from an ACC standpoint. Not my team, and I would be lying if I didn't hope they lose. But at any rate, speaking of losing, um, has the Heisman Trophy. This is good. This is a good one. It's a good one because we got to watch this. We got to watch this throughout the year. Has a Heisman Trophy lost its allure, especially this season? What do you think?
I think it has. I think NIL has helped it lose it. Guys leaving early has helped it lose. You got all these other awards that target different positions. That, hey, well, I can't win the Heisman, but I can win the Outland Trophy. I can't win I'm not gonna win the Heisman playing strictly defense. So, but I can win the Jim Thorpe Award. It's still a prestigious award because it's the Heisman, but it's not what you're shooting for. It used to be, I want to win that. Now, okay, I won the Heisman. That's great. I'm glad I won it. But if I didn't win it, it wasn't gonna be a big deal. I don't think. I mean, can you name the past 5 Heisman Trophy winners? Remember, there was a time if you were the Heisman Trophy winner, everybody knew who you were. It was just like if you were the heavyweight champ of the world, everybody knew who the heavyweight champ is. Who's the heavyweight champ now?
Shit.
That's my
Which
point.
belt? Which belt?
See, again, it's not a big thing anymore. It doesn't have the same allure. And the Heisman Trophy doesn't have that same allure. I think somebody who we know who won last year, and this is only because he's a two-way player, but if Travis Hunter had won it as a receiver, I don't think it would be we would be saying, man, Travis won it. I can't believe he won it. But he won it playing both ways.
I mean,
If
you gotta think about it.
Yeah,
It doesn't come off the top of your head, but if you think about it, the names start coming because you go to the NFL and okay, soon you said Travis Hunter. I said, okay. Oh yeah, rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels. Wasn't he like before him?
yeah,
All right. So then who else in here now? Caleb Williams got to be somewhere in there. Bryce Young in
yeah,
there. So
yeah,
I don't know what years, but I'm pretty
yeah.
sure I'm at
But
4.
Yeah, but it doesn't jump out at you anymore. And it
But it
used to
never
be
did.
for me. It used to like jump out. Oh man, the Heisman. He got the Heisman. He got the Heisman. He's a Heisman winner. I mean, even in the NFL,
I
it
almost, I
used to be.
almost guarantee, I almost guarantee you didn't think about that until Heisman time.
No, I always look before I would track and look and see. Okay, I think so and so. I don't even have a Heisman candidate right now. I
Well,
don't
I'll
have
tell you
a.
why you. I'll tell you why you don't have a Heisman candidate. I thought you were talking about remembering who won the Heisman in past years.
No, I'm talking about it. I'm talking not just
Probably
past, but
had
I'm
done
talking
that.
about now.
Probably had done that for like 15 years.
I used to have people, I'd say, okay, these three are probably going to be my three who I think got a real shot at winning. I didn't even enter this year
Oh, you mean
thinking
okay?
about it. Yeah, because it's not when it comes up. They're gonna say, well, the Heisman votes are coming in next week, and everybody will start looking. Okay, so and so's got these stats. So and so's got this. Yeah, he should get it. He should get it. But we aren't looking and saying, man, this dude looks like he could be a Heisman Trophy winner. It doesn't pop the same.
Well, I mean, you know why it doesn't pop the same. All right, the Heisman Trophy was a crapshoot. Like the Heisman Trophy really was centered around limited media telling you who was gonna do it, right? So, for instance, if ABC and CBS was the only one covering college football, whoever Keith Jackson was told to build, that's where you stayed. Whoever Howard Cosell told you to build was told to build, that's where you stayed. Then you probably used some Playboy preseason All-American article, some USA Today. But now you got like an expanded media who has all of this coverage of all of these athletes and all of these athletes' backgrounds. Then also another aspect of that, if that guy had done great the year before, the school itself started promoting him. The school can't get behind that because he may say, I did well. Guess what? I'm being recruited by another school. I'm about to leave for NIL money, so I can't even get that billing. You know, Feinbaum tried his best to give Arch Manning a lift, and Arch has let him down. But Arch was probably who Arch was, and Feinbaum was just trying his best to be Howard Cosell, and he couldn't be. So now he embarrassed. So, and let's not forget the transfer portal, because one in Bryce Young. Let me see, Bryce Young,
Jalen Daniels, and Cincinnati,
Joe Burrow.
Burrow. If it wasn't for the portal, none of those guys probably wouldn't won a
They portaled in reverse. They portaled out to win the Heisman. You have possible Heisman Trophy candidates who had guys portal in, and because you love to give the Heisman to a running back or a quarterback, they had their wide receiver portal out who was making them look good. So now they aren't as good. You know, so and the people who don't even make it in the portal, your linebackers, your offensive linemen, they leave too. They leave for NIL money too. They just don't get big news because that's because of the position. But all of those things is probably why the Heisman Trophy most certainly has lost its allure, because I'm not taking anything away from Travis. Travis did what he needed to do when he was on TV. But we saw the numbers. There was a DB that was actually DB specifically better than Travis. There was definitely a wide receiver or two that was better than him at wide receiver, but there wasn't a college player that was doing both of them as well. And every time he showed up on TV, he had no business. So I mean, I don't necessarily pump the Heisman up personally.
But like I said, it used to be that you won the Heisman. Everybody knew. Now you won the Heisman. Okay. And if you're a quarterback, you won the Heisman, but you didn't get the O'Brien Award. Okay, I'm the best player. Well, you ain't the best quarterback, or well, I'm the best. Or you didn't get the Golden Arm Award or whatever, but you got the Heisman. And it's kind of like, man, you would think that if a quarterback wins it, he would get the full sweep of any quarterback awards, but it doesn't. Dude, it's just crazy. Again, I don't think that it doesn't mean as much nationally as it used to. It means a lot to the guy that won it. And if I was playing now, I would want to win it, but it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't hit the same as it used to.
Let's do this. Let's do this because you old school. When was the last time you saw a Heisman Trophy winning game? And you know what I'm talking about. That game that put the exclamation point on that person's Heisman Trophy candidacy. When was the last time you saw a player play that game?
Man,
Cam Newton?
Cam, Reggie Bush. See, that's how far back you gotta go.
How far back you gotta go? So my point is, Alabama.
Yeah, Joe Burrow
Against Alabama when they were 1-2. There you go. So, and look how few and far that is in between. And man, if you really want to know the truth, that was Heisman Trophy game for Joe Burrow / let's look at all these jokers who are going to be in the NFL, see who need to be, because man, everybody was balling. You got some Surtain in there. You know you had the wide receivers, all of them.
All of them, yep.
So really, it was diminished. Joe Burrow, you had to pump the Heisman up in that game, because even then that game was diminished by which one of these jokers going first?
So much talent, yeah.
So I mean, you lose that. No one. So I guess what you have to do, even Ashton Genty, we were hoping he would. There were people hoping he would beat out Travis Hunter.
And would beat Barry's record, so you could say, hey,
you know. And to be honest with you, he needed to have like I don't know what school he needed to play. He was Boise State, right?
Yeah.
He did Oklahoma.
Yeah, he needed to beat a top team, and
And go out
because
and score like 7 touchdowns.
yeah, because in the grand scheme of things, people look at it and they say it's Boise State. That's what people. That's how people look at it. No one thinks of Boise State as a top program.
No
Not
one.
it's Boise State. It's Idaho. But if he had done that at USC, man, he probably gets it. If he did it at Notre Dame, he did it at Notre
Well, Brand,
Dame.
if he had exactly, my good, Travis Hunter would be out with. He could have been at Penn State, Notre Dame, FSU,
Bama,
Oklahoma, Texas, Bama, Miami, Florida.
Florida State.
Yeah, I think I said
Yeah.
FSU, Nebraska, Colorado. Well,
No.
I'm leaving him out of it because it's Travis. He could have been at UCLA, USC. He could have been at he could have been doing that same thing out of school. Travis would have went the whole year in second place, billing, same numbers. So I think it's lost its allure. College football just don't have a whole lot of.
It's too much movement.
Yeah, it's too much movement. They don't have a whole lot of I think college football. I don't want to say college football has lost its allure, but there a lot of the drama and the cast that came with that
It's gone.
is gone. It's gone. Game day, college game day is not even the same. Lee Corso, is he?
Yeah, he's retired.
Who putting on the?
Yeah, nobody's gonna do that. Nobody's gonna don that again. But yeah, so but if you win the Heisman, I'm not poo pooing on it at all. Not at all. If you win the Heisman, you've accomplished something. But it's just not. It's not. It doesn't have. It's not the goal that it used to be.
Right. Yeah. Somebody gonna come in that Heisman house this year and be like the first one they asked to. You go out there and you wash everybody's car before you come in. He like gonna be the first one they haze. You get no respect. But at any rate, moving right along and before we move right along, make sure you are watching us at NOJASS, No Jazz Show, not just another sports show. We are live on YouTube, Facebook at DuPont NIVEK ZN in the locker room. We are live on Riverside. We are live TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'm moving through this, man, because boy, that body is electric. That body is electric. Now, speaking of moving, let me see. I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
I'm gonna let the games be the games, because there's something I want to bring up with FIFA later. So I'm gonna let that one be.
Yeah.
I saw it. I'm not missing it. It's just I'm gonna add anything to that. But let's stay at football, because we're gonna really give out some NBA World Series champions and all that stuff gonna come. But route running in the NFL. When I saw that topic come up, man, I thought about I really did. I thought about the fact that, because I was this past weekend, I was like, well, who is Patrick Surtain gonna guard?
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if he was gonna travel with GP and CD. Then I saw he latched on to GP, and I saw he got hurt early.
Mm-hmm.
Then I saw I got a $40 million man. And I'm not one to say whatever round you get picked in means you are going to play that, but a lot of people really don't believe that the data kind of holds true to that. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't believe that first round pick actually does better than that third round pick. By numerically.
Yeah.
That's not to say you can't make it in the NFL. And
Right.
and I don't want to get in. I don't want to get involved in anybody's cliche. Oh, that don't mean nothing. And they go back and they gonna throw me a name like Tom Brady and Smith. That's what they do.
Yeah, throw John Randall out there.
They throw John Randall
He wasn't even
out.
drafted. He in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's
But
the
we know.
exception.
Stop it. If you really look at it, them first round boys be first round boys for a reason. And then y'all start throwing first round names at me who didn't make it. Just be quiet with all that. Like, numerically, they don't get it wrong too much when you get first round. They don't get it wrong. Like, they don't get it wrong too much first round 1 to 23. But at any rate, when I saw CD playing against a third round cornerback, even though they had help underneath in bracket coverage, he didn't get it done. Even though the dude had 4 PIs, last I checked, if a man got you in a situation where you got to pass interference to me all day,
he own you.
He own you. And you got to use that against him and get 7 PIs. I said you can't do that, but you didn't. So I'm looking at your route running and what you when you ask the question route running today versus route running in the past. I guess are you asking is it better or was it better back then? Because I don't want to use better or worse.
I think that it's more today is more about your ability to juke someone and avoid contact as opposed to in the past it was about running the route and beating the guy because and I'm saying this because I remember I was watching Michael Irvin down in Miami and he was
Oh, you on a
dealing
clip?
with he was
Okay.
talking to those receivers and he you don't see this anymore. Irvin said you get out there and he put a swim move and got by the guy. He said, "Get your ass up the field." These guys today, you see them, they do 5 or 6 steps before they even get off the line, and they're jerking all around, and then get. It's almost as if they aren't they're freestyling and then starting to run a route. I think things are less disciplined now as before. Hey, you need to go 10 and out or 10 and curl back in. Now, before he even runs that route, you see them doing a couple of jab steps and then taking off. And I think that is different. I guess you say, hey, this is the way the game has progressed because receivers used to get when they were out lined up out wide. A lot of times, some of them would get down in the 3 point stance. They don't do that anymore.
Might say you can't beat him coming up out of
Yeah,
stand.
yeah,
It's a
and
lot. It's a lot of people believe. There are a lot of people believe that Lester Hayes can't stick you in that squat.
yeah, and Lester would have put them hands on you. He would have put them paws
That's
on you.
why he was in that squat.
Yeah, but he was exceptional at that because everybody can't do that. There's certain things that some guys can do that are unorthodox, but it works for them and they perfected it. You wouldn't teach a young cornerback to get down in Lester squat if he hasn't already been doing it because he got to learn something completely different. Lester, I'm sure Lester probably wouldn't even tell you to do it because he's like, hey, you're not me. You're not me. You can't do that, but you can do this. But I think the route running has gotten to where it's more freelance as opposed to discipline now. Because you look back, even the 90s, you didn't see all guys doing all that. You saw guys running their route, doing what they were supposed to do, and getting separation with a slight bend and curling out of their route or whatnot. Nowadays, a dude can start to the left, make a move to the right, back to the left, upfield, come back and make another right, and then go upfield. It's like, damn man, what are you running a route or you just running around trying to get open? And that's what a lot of these routes look like to me. Guys just running around trying to get open. They don't run. It's like they run the route. They don't run their route the same as they used to. They just it looks like they're freelancing, just trying to get open. I remember when Mike Irvin told the dude swim move and get the hell up the field. I remember my dad. I had visions of being Lynn Swan for the longest until I got to high school, and then I saw okay, let me play running back because we ain't throwing the ball enough for me to be Lynn Swan. So let me run. But I was coming off the line and I was doing this because hand fighting with the defender, and my dad said, "What are you doing?" So well, I'm trying to get that, and he told me, and it was kind of like what they do now, but it was less of what they do. Just step out of your route for a second, go around the dude, and get back into your route. And the first, he said, you don't need to be pussyfooting with the dude in front of you. You need to be getting by him. And I did that. And the first time I did it in practice, I beat the guy and I caught the ball. But they're like, man, you act like you scared to get touched by the corner. My job is to get open. My job ain't to be doing this. But nowadays they don't even the routes are just herky jerky now. I think that they've gotten. I think it's more freelance now as opposed to pure discipline, and let you look at certain systems. And they do all of that, and the corner is not even up on them. They aren't jamming at the line. They're giving them 5 and 10 yard cushion. Then the guy's still doing 5 moves before he even gets by him. So I
I'm gonna
think
tell you.
route running is not as disciplined as it used to be.
Let me tell you something, man. And I'm about to get in my feelings here
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of people on social media, and I'm in a few groups, and I tend to say things my unorthodox way because I think a certain way. And when I think a certain way, and I bring bring forth another perspective. If no one has ever heard that perspective, I get, man, you need to start talking football because you don't know what you're talking about. But really, what it is, you've never heard it from that angle,
Mm-hmm.
and it confuses you that shoot. I never thought about it that way. So in my stubbornness, I'm just gonna say he's stupid. But I'm gonna tell you what the problem is. It's just me. 7 on 7. 7 on 7 games. What's missing? What's missing?
Pass rush,
No pass rush.
no contact.
Hold on. If you don't have a pass rush, that's because there's no offensive line
Mm-hmm.
to dictate whether or not that pass rush gonna get in there or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Acting as that force of resistance. So here's what the problem is: we out here paying quarterbacks and wide receivers for more offense, and they're coming from these schools of 7 on 7, and they still got 7 on 7 clocks in their head. So you out on the outside dancing around with a 4.5, 5 second clock, when the reality is the average clock that an offensive lineman gets on a pass rush is 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you out there dancing around for 2.5 seconds, you looking like, oh, if such and such had more blocking, and then the fan themselves believes that the fan themselves really is under the impression that a grown man coming from a still position, rising up to get a grown man, to get another 200 plus grown man who's a little bit more agile than him, he gonna come up and he can move. He can move his legs. He can get a thrust off from you. He coming from a still position. It's gonna hold that man for 4.5 seconds while the wide receiver out there playing Fred Astaire on the X, and your wide out there being Sammy Davis Jr. And you don't understand why you getting sacked time and time again. Just like Irvin said, get up the field. See, if you said to yourself, oh, years ago, we need more offense. That's why we won't let the DB touch him. But the truth of the matter is, when the DB got up on you and pressed him and was able to touch you, you did have more of a time clock and understanding. My lineman ain't got but so much time, so I got to get through this man. So your goal is to get north and south without doing all that lateral east and west. Let me show you what I could do, because I'm reliving my YouTube video.
And also, when's the last time you saw a wide receiver use the swim move?
Yeah. When the last time you saw a wide receiver? When the last time you saw let me shift this way, so that weight gonna be this way, and I'm gonna run through that light shoulder. And sometimes the swim move is used in that because you press them, you get them out of your way. But guess what the swim move is? Going north and south.
Mm-hmm.
We got too many Barry Sanders out there at wide receiver. So my thing is, that's what's going on. You need the offensive lineman to go in the wide receiver room and be like, what the fuck you doing? Really, you're really putting this clock on me. There's a reason you didn't run that 4-4 and 4-3 sideways. You ran it north and south. I know no one was in front of you, but the truth of the matter is, when you get through that man, we were just trying to see how fast you can get up to that speed once you get through that man. And you think you're doing something. You think you're doing something spectacular because you can fake him out. Okay, you want to fake out the man in front of you? How about you go grab a Spalding and go get on the court and go do a crossover and play in the NBA?
It's simple, and it's like they've allowed the game to evolve to that, or I'm not gonna say evolve. They've allowed the game to devolve into that.
But it's the law of diminishing returns, because what it is the more you gave it, the more you lost.
Yeah, because you think about it, a lot of these offenses, they don't run on real timing anymore, because like you said, the guys are just jumping around out there, and it's 4 or 5 seconds before the balls get thrown out. Or they've got them, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the previous dynasties and previous teams that were always winning. It was rhythm. 1, 2, 3, ball is out. Ball is out. Ball is out. It wasn't, if somebody didn't get open, they didn't get open, and you tried to keep it alive, but it wasn't one of those things where, man, he got to get extra time because his receivers can't get open. No, by the time I hit 3-1,000, you were supposed to be X amount of yards up the field to this spot, or on your way to this spot, not still dancing around out there in your 15th cut before you get the way you're supposed to get.
Let's be real. Let's be real. You don't get an opportunity to you don't get an opportunity for I think offensive linemen today, with OTAs, and this is all still going back to wide receivers because it's a it's a synergy. It all connects. If you're passing most of the time, like I said, pass blocking is an art. Run blocking is a force. If I can if I can dominate you in my man force on you, and I know the game has changed, but if I hit that defensive tackle and that defensive end and I'm controlling the run for a long period of time, that definitely makes my pass blocking easier.
Yeah.
Advantage goes to defense when I'm getting up every time. That's why these jokers using their arm. These DBs out here, it's a hard defense when you can't touch anybody. It's a hard defense when a DB can't use the leverage of his right foot and hold his arm out just to hold you up to get in his spin. He's spinning freely, and so he getting in a turn, twisted ankle, twisted hamstring. You hurt more DBs, twisted knees. Your DBs are being sacrificed. NFL, your DBs, like let's be real. Just so you can get all these little shifty little guys. Oh, guess what? These little shifty little guys hurting their little selves too. With all that shit. Wide receivers going out left and right too. So you have to look at, yes, the route running is faster, and from a technique standpoint, it's better, but it's not the best thing for the game when you start really looking at it. It's the best thing for the score, maybe, but it's not. It's not.
Yeah, and if I do this long enough and enough time, I'm gonna beat anybody eventually because you're doing this and you're looking at his hips, but he's doing all day. Like, man, he ain't even got his route yet. I mean,
look how fast. I got another one for you. Look how fast and shifty Aaron Donald looks getting through a double team with all that spin moving and all that he doing. You want to know what he doing when he doing his spin move? The wide receiver out there spinning too. That's why he ain't getting up the field. That's why Aaron Donald getting back. Aaron Donald ain't getting back there fast. Aaron Donald ain't getting back there faster than Lawrence Taylor. He ain't getting back there faster than John Reynolds. He ain't getting back there faster than Warren Sapp. That was a straight line, north and south. He ain't getting back there faster than Reggie White. No. He was a smaller guy who really had to use speed and technique. And the reason that technique was working for him is because my people on the outside ain't getting open.
Yeah, by the time they get open, he's back there on the quarterback.
He's back there. Let's be real. This ain't nothing but simple math. KD, you stupid. You don't even know football. Why one thing got to do with the other one and that other thing got to do with the other one? Just stop talking football. Nah, I'm talking about something you failed. And that's simple math. That's why you mad at me, because you failed math, punk. But the truth of the matter is the truth. The truth of the matter is the truth. CD, you a finesse guy. Mike said it straight up. GP, that route, you cut it. You didn't use enough force.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't use enough force on your body, and you had him in a height advantage. If you'd have pushed him up a little bit more, but you left him that gap. So when you came up to get the ball, he was right there with you. But if your body would have been on him and that foot would have had to step back, then you left, that would have been enough of a gap to get that ball, and you'd have got that touchdown. See, but hold on. Mike was slow, but he wasn't slow up here. The processing was up here.
Yeah, and like you say, the quickest way to get between point A and point B is a straight line, not all of this. Now, if occasionally that's called for, but initially you just need to be getting up field. You need to be getting to your spot, and you shouldn't be using all this extra gas to get there. Instead of, but hey, who are we?
Who are we? So I guess we did cover all the injuries as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you missed that was no OTAs, lineman pass blocking too goddamn much.
No contact.
It's already tough enough for a DB to move his hips and spin out. DBs get what you call it?
They get hamstring pulls. They get groin injuries.
They get crossed knees. Up on the NBA players. They get crossed up. I mean, and it come with the game. It get crossed up. That hurt.
I just tore my meniscus. What? Because I was on JJ and he ran made 5 different movements coming right off the line.
I'm not saying he don't have the right to make 5 different moves, but golly, we got 2 ball hawks that can't stay in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And no one ever No one ever said DeRon Bland or Trayvon Diggs were shutdown corners. What they are pass rush corners. Meaning, if we got a pass rush, I forgot, this ain't about the Cowboys, but you really want to know why Micah got traded? You really want to know? Because the front end wasn't helping the back end his last year, because you never saw it in the data. Trayvon out, Duran out. I guarantee you, if the pressure that Micah was putting on the quarterback was causing that quarterback to throw earlier to two ball hawks who gonna catch that ball when it come over there, them 13 interceptions a season apiece would have been like, hey man, you might not have them sacks, but you causing them interceptions.
Yeah, you're getting real pressures on, real hurries.
You get real hurries. Jerry would have had to think about that. Your agent could have used that in the negotiation. I think your agent trash. Because he didn't use it in the negotiation. Yeah, Megaweather, I think you're trash. Because you didn't use that in your negotiations. You just in the right spot at the right time, and God bless you to do that. But come on, man, you know what I'm saying? If you really need an agent, call KD. I'll show you how to get the data. My point still is this. Just like Prime said when Sapp was kicking down the pylons, stop acting like that's just something we do, because we've been doing that since we were pros. Sapp knock them down, I pick them up. The front end help the back end. This is just football. But he can't do that because Bland got a hurt ankle and a hamstring, and Trayvon hamstring and knee ain't right, because they chasing around mosquitoes. But man, hey, so I guess the point we making is this: is the route running better? No, it's not. They got better fakes. They don't have better routes. You can't even get. He run the route tree. When do we get to it?
We don't see route trees, or they've come up with other stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna call it this because he runs this way. Yeah, that's a route now. No, he just running, trying to find somewhere open. He's just trying to get open.
He probably wasn't open. You lost the DB, he slipped. That's all that was. But at any rate, man, we had an hour and 30 minutes of the No Jazz show, man. Do you have a what you want to talk about before we get to this twin? Do you have a twin?
Yeah, I got a twin, but I got two things.
Hold on, I didn't. Before you get to two things, do I need to sing colors or say colors?
Colors. Okay. What, as a fan? This is for the audience also. Like, y'all can comment down below, and I'm asking you, what would make you throw down your team's colors and go elsewhere? And especially if you've been with the team for decades. Let's say you grew up rooting for this team. What would cause you to throw down your colors and say, I'm done, I'm out, I'm going to find somebody else?
This is a tough one. I know a guy. Well, I don't really know him, but Facebook wise, he's a pretty cool guy. And I knew him as a Cowboy fan, and he left this season. His reason, and I'll use his reason as my reason.
Okay.
I think it would have to be, because I'm just old school. It would really have to be a family member that was picked up by another team that was not my team to make me go throw down my jersey, regardless of what the Cowboys do. It would have to be that. It would have to be my son, nephew, like really close family member, plays for that team, and I said, I'm going over him. I enjoy and I don't want to go stretch this out too far. I have family members that hate the Cowboys, hate them for no apparent reason. I had the best time I ever had when I went to Dallas and went to a Cowboys game. So it's like for all the things that we go through as Cowboys fans, there's still something that keeps us there. I don't think there's anything in the game. I don't know, somebody probably gonna come over, somebody probably looking like, so Jerry can go and tell all the black people, shut up. They're gonna hyperbolize something crazy. Yeah. I'm talking about like for real. Yeah, it probably have to be a family member that was drafted by a team, and then I said I'm rooting for no matter what. That's about it for me.
Yeah, I got a friend. He was born and raised in L.A. He's a Raiders fan. He was a diehard Raiders fan. He threw down his colors when the Raiders moved to Vegas. He said that's it. He didn't even want to watch football anymore after that. And he loved he didn't want, but the Raiders moved to Vegas, and he was like, no, for him it was they left Oakland, they come here. He was like, it ripped his heart out. He was like, that's our team. They can't go there. He said, "No, I'm done. I'm out. I don't care about the Raiders anymore." And when he would talk, he would be like, "I don't care if we." I say, "Yeah, the Raiders are this or they're doing." He said, "I don't care what they do. I hope
How
they
old is he?
never." He's in his late 40s.
Okay, I get it. Okay,
Yeah,
because he had to be 8 or 9 when they were in LA.
yeah. And then he knew about him in
Maybe
Oakland.
not even then. Maybe not even 8 or 9. He might have been 4 or 5.
Yeah, but he was fine with them, because they were in Oakland. And he was a Raider, and it was like it don't matter if they were in Oakland or in L.A. But when they left those two cities and came to Vegas, I don't care about the Raiders no more. I
That's
don't
crazy
care
that Vegas changed his.
because they left. I mean, if they because they flip flop between L.A. and Oakland, and he was fine with them being either one because they started in Oakland. So okay, if they go back home, I'm okay with that. But they're still my Raiders. But they actually picked up and moved to another city. And he was like, another city out of the state. He was like, no, I'm not doing it. He said, no, they ripped my heart out. He was like, they spit in the face of the entire nation. I'm
See, that's
done.
funny. That's a funny one to me because they still went to. I mean, that's his thing, but they
Yeah.
still went to California people traveling.
Yeah, but
Oakland people, San Francisco people, LA people, they go to Vegas.
yeah, but he was like, it's just like when the Browns left Cleveland and went to Baltimore to become the Ravens.
No, it ain't.
For him, it was like that.
Okay, 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 okay,
Yeah.
okay.
When the Colts picked up and left Baltimore and went to Indianapolis, there are people who, okay, the Colts are gone. We don't have a team anymore. The Colts, they over there. They're not our Colts. We're not cheering for the Colts. We don't have a team anymore.
Switching sports, but it's people who are LA Dodgers in New York because the Dodgers were Brooklyn Dodgers. There
Yeah.
are people there are people who are San Francisco Giants because they used to be the New York Giants. Now,
Mm.
I guess baseball is different from football because I don't think there are any LA Rams St. Louis people. I think they went back to Chicago or something like that. I think they didn't stay Rams. I don't know. That's
No, the Rams, when you talking about initially, the Rams came from Cleveland and then they wound up in LA.
I mean
But
modern day.
modern day, yeah, they were,
Modern day,
LA,
they
LA
modern
to St. Louis and St. Louis back to LA.
in
Yeah.
St. Louis back to L.A.
Yeah.
Like the L.A. people didn't. The L.A. people when they became St. Louis Rams, the L.A. people just said, "Well, we just don't have football."
Yeah. Well, we're going to cheer for the Raiders now. A lot of them did that.
And then remember, L.A. didn't
Or
have a
the
team.
Chargers. Yeah. Or we're going to cheer for San Diego because they right down the street.
You know what they said? We just gonna cheer for the Lakers. We don't have a football team. I was in L.A. Them people
Mm,
didn't care about Sunday. You had to be from somewhere else. Ball on. That was not a football town, but boy, when they got a
yeah.
football team,
They came
whoo,
back. Yeah.
it came back fast.
Because for me to leave the Steelers, it would have to be something that I was just diametrically opposed to my core. It would have to be something that went beyond football. It
Yeah,
would
it
have to
got to
be
be
something that went
way
beyond football. It would have to be,
off the
yeah,
grid.
yeah. Because I would hate for them to move and go and become the
Well,
become the Montana Steelers.
we're,
You
we're,
know,
we're now for
yeah,
us. That's one thing we are definitely
yeah,
don't have to worry about.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
not
But
going to be.
but I can't see myself doing it. But now, a good reason would be if I had a. It would have to be my child. It would have to be my child.
Yeah,
A good friend or nephew or whatever goes to play with somebody else. Hey, I wish you well. I wish you success. I cheer for you. But I'm black and gold till I die.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And even then, if my son went and played elsewhere, I would. Hey, I wish you well. I'm gonna cheer for you. But hey, I was with them before you were here, and when your career is over, I'm gonna still be with them. But I
I
want you to do well.
tell you like this: Jerry would, and he 83 years old, so this might be one of his kids. They would threaten the NFL with moving to another league before they leave Dallas. Like whatever, the Dallas Cowboys would still be the Dallas Cowboys of the United Football League. They ain't leaving Dallas though. Like even though technically they're in Arlington,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's still what it is. But those two things you said before I said color, you said it was two things you wanted to do, and then I said, was that it?
Oh, the other, and I've been thinking about this for quite some time. I've always looked at it, but is there a stat in football that you think is more, and it does, and when it happens, it's great, and at certain times it can be the difference. But is there a stat that you think is more of a for an individual player? It's an individual stat more so than a team stat that we place an inordinate amount of importance on. Because for me, it's a sack. It's a sack, and and I say that because we've only had, and everybody, well, he's a sack leader, and that's great. But we've only had 6 players who led the league in sacks the same year that they won the Super Bowl. There was Richard Dent. There was Lawrence Taylor. There was Kevin Carter from the Rams. I had to say where he played because people are, who the hell is Kevin Carter? Harvey Martin, Bill Stanfield from the Miami Dolphins in '72.
Kevin Carter of Tallahassee, Florida,
yeah,
Gainesville,
yeah,
God,
yeah,
you know, Kevin.
yeah. Bill Stanfield from Miami, the Dolphins of '72, and Aaron Donald. Now we've had 50 something Super Bowls, and only 6 sack leaders have won Super Bowls in the same year. And my thing is, you got a guy because Hendricks in Cincinnati, 17 and a half sacks the past 2 years. But the team haven't won a whole lot. The team haven't won a whole lot. The defense hasn't been good. But he got 35 sacks in those 2 seasons. Now that looks good on the stat line for him trying to get his money. The overall impact and course of the season, did it really mean anything? Because I mean, sack leader sounds good. Oh, I had 2 sacks this game. That sounds good. But you went 4 games without a sack. Now you got another sack. So now you got 3 games. Now you got 7 games and 3 sacks. Okay, he's back on. I think there's not too much emphasis placed on it, but I think there's an inordinate amount placed on it because you can have great sack numbers as an individual. Your team has a lot of sacks. That's different. But your individual can have a lot of sacks, and it doesn't translate and doesn't mean that your team is winning. But it looks good when it's time to negotiate, and it looks good in the record books.
Well,
Do you think that? I think that is, again.
so
I'm
what
not poo
you
pooing
saying?
on it.
It's a balloon stat. It's a individual stat. What is it?
I think it's an individual stat that if it doesn't translate into your team winning, there's two that is over that is.
Well, you want my answer to that one?
Mhm.
QBR. QBR. Skip Bayless. Pro Football Format or Pro Football Focus
Focus.
is probably the most overrated, overpaid stat, and here's why: 58.9 perfect
Mm-hmm.
game QBR. It takes a lot to have that perfect game. Like what Tank has asked is, we understand that even a sack, technically, when you look at it, is not an individual effort. An interception, 4 interceptions in a game by one person, 12 in a season, is not an individual effort. It is a pass rush. It is the quarterback messing up. It's mostly on the DB being in a position and you got to catch the ball. You know what I'm saying? It's mostly on the defensive end linebacker when you get there and you got to close the deal. Absolutely. QBR, that line 158.9, that line got to be blocking for you. The receivers got to be catching. But the balloon stat is, to me, is QBR because we don't have a defense. There are 2 games, 4 games, 40 plus points. There is an opportunity to get in shootouts, and Dak has 124.4 and a 124.9. He lost one and tied the other one. Meaning, with our defense, and as high as the QBR as that is, he needed, in order to win with our defense, his QBR, using that data, his QBR needs to be 127, 128 to make up that 3 points you either lose by or win by. Because 24 is not translating into W's. So what's it all for? Your defense sucks. They're bad. I'm not blaming Dak. I'm just telling you that he has 34 more points of perfection that no one is really going to get. And in order to get that to translate into a W with what our defense gives up, he has to get that extra 2 points. That ain't that hard to get. You know what that extra 2 points is? Making sure your offensive line don't go offside, making sure y'all got the right play call, making sure when you get up on the line, you see that the play before that dude went out to the left side and he was open, so you try him again instead of, well, it'll look good if CD gets this one in bracket coverage. I'm gonna throw it over there. And I'm gonna tell you why, QBR and Ted Hendricks. I'm gonna tell you why. I guarantee you, isn't this Joe Burrow's first year back from injury? Was he injured last year?
Yeah, he was. No, the defense was terrible last year. Burrow, yeah,
The defense
yeah,
was terrible last year. Right, the
yeah,
defense was terrible last year. So this is that area. This is that area where Katie don't know football again. I just know math. I guarantee you, Hendricks, all of those sacks was productivity because y'all on the field a lot. Y'all ain't 3 and out in a lot. Y'all aren't. When I see a player with a lot of sacks, that's why, as great, and I'm not taking anything away from him, you have to start crunching numbers between Derek Thomas and Lawrence Taylor. When you start saying, well, Derek Thomas had all them sacks within that 3-year span. What was KC record then? Why was he getting all those sacks? Were those closeout sacks? Was he getting those people off the field? Were LT sacks more impactful with less sacks? You see what I'm saying? Like the stat has to translate into the W.
yeah. Because if you're not winning and you just ringing up stats, it really doesn't matter.
It really
Truthfully,
doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
So it really doesn't matter. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, and you start seeing that when your 124 QBR against a mediocre team or losing team, you play the same game. You don't change your game. But that defense is just that much better, and that 124 turns into a 51.5. The truth comes out. It's when you start
Yeah,
asking questions like when you see excuse me, when you see what's his name? Mike Ditka is 0.4 yards, or no, Mike Ditka is 2.3 yards a catch in the run era, less than Jason Witten. But Mike Ditka's stats translated into Super Bowls. Billy Joe Dupree's tight end stats translated into Super Bowls. Jay Novacek's tight end stats in the run era translated into Super Bowls. Jason Witten, you can throw the numbers up on the screen and he blows them out of the water statistically. But all those stats never saw an NFC Championship game.
mm-hmm.
Is he Hall of Fame? Should he be put on the same pedestal as Mike Ditka? And I'm only saying this because, yes, when you put his numbers up against Gonzalez, absolutely. But Gonzalez played for the Kansas City Chiefs before they became Super Bowl champions. I guarantee you, if Gonzalez was born now and came after Kelsey and had numbers like he had, he's going his data is going to be like, but Kelsey's data made championships. His didn't. Should I make Gonzalez a Hall of Famer and put him in the same area as Kelsey? See, the franchise itself changes it, buddy. You think they're going to be a great tight end, like all those tight ends that came through New England? I think before they came, who was the one? Ben Coates.
Yeah. Russ Francis, Ben Coates, Ben Dawson, out in order. Lynn Dawson, yeah, Ben Coates. Then you finally got the Gronk.
When
And
you
then
get the Gronk,
then you got you also had Aaron Hernandez.
Aaron Hernandez in there too. When you get to those two, the criteria change. The numbers ain't the same no more. And we're not talking Hall of Fame here. We're talking about, does it translate? Gonzalez is on the area with Kansas City of translating into wins. If he came behind Kelsey, he would be under the criteria if it translated into wins and championships. It's just what it is. I can't put you in the same boat. So stats, I don't know. But I know QBR,
Yeah.
one of them ones, boy. That's a balloon
Yeah.
stat for real. Don't come to my negotiating table with that. I need to see it. And the truth of the
Yeah.
matter is, don't get me right. There are most in the league, most teams, most quarterbacks have won against losing teams and winning teams, and they beat winning teams. The other side of that is, don't be using certain names who've beaten losing teams more than they beat winning teams when they have walked and traveled to conference championships and Super Bowls. Don't make those names synonymous with people who haven't done that. Stop doing that. That's just stupid. But go ahead. What you about to say?
Yeah, And again, because somebody's gonna say, because I know someone is gonna say, and sacks, this, that, and the other. And I'm not saying they're not important, but they are just having a sack champion, sack leader, or a guy that has a lot of sacks does not translate into your team, your defense, necessarily your defense being dominant or your team winning championships. It's good for negotiating to get your money, and it's good for them to put you up in the Hall of Fame, trying to work for the Hall of Fame. Because you think about it, you think about defensive ends, the defensive ends and the outside backers, they have over 100 sacks that are in the Hall of Fame. Most of them, not most, but you don't talk about them as far as doing other things, playing the run, defending passes, or doing anything else. It's
It's the glamour.
sacks.
It's that.
It's sacks. Or Lawrence Taylor, he's got 136 sacks. Was he a great player? Yes. And does he belong in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely. And I think he's the most destructive defensive player in the history of the league. But what he's in there for is 136 plays. That's what he had 136 plays in his career. They said, hey, he needs to be in the Hall of Fame. And no, that's not taking a thing away from him for anybody who's going to say something. But those 136 plays are why he's in there and and why generally people regard him as one of the best of. There's a reason, again. So I think stats again are great for negotiating. They're great for highlights. They're great for making the case for you to be in Canton. But I think they are overinflated in terms of their importance unless they close the game out or unless they result in multiple drives being ended to put your team in position to win.
Look at this. I'm about to give y'all a great example of a sack stat. I'm about to give y'all a great example, and this by far is not an individual sack stat, but I'm going to ask a question at the end of this. Rodney Harrison, 30 and a half career sacks as a DB. Rondé Barber, 28, somewhere he ran at 28. See, what my man name is.
I think Rondy's in the 30-30 club.
Rodney in the 30-30 club. Rondé in the 30-30 club, right?
Yeah, yeah.
30-30.
30 sacks, 30 picks.
He definitely 20-20.
Yeah.
Rodney Harrison 30. Dawkins like somewhere 25-26.
Mm-hmm.
Of the three, I think all of them in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
Of the three,
Well,
who's
except Harrison. Harrison's not in.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
He's the one with multiple rings.
That's crazy. He's the one with multiple rings. He is probably a victim of wasn't flashy and had that character because he definitely was on some dominant defenses. He has the multiple rings. Brian Dawkins is the only one that doesn't have the ring. And his problem is, if I'm not mistaken, he's a safety, right?
Safety, and he also had a reputation of being a dirty player and the most fined player in the history of the league.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So he wasn't clean enough. He wasn't clean enough to get on that echelon of Brian Dawkins, Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed.
Speaking of safeties, shouts out and condolences to the family of George Atkinson, one of the members of the Raiders Soul Patrol secondary of the 70s,
Right.
who went on to glory yesterday.
Joe, shout out to his family. Condolences to his family. Yes, he did. That's right. That was some news, man. That was some news. We showing our age. Now, moving right along to this week's Impact Name and Notable. Of course, you know what this means as we move into the second hour. This means the player that played this week, who had some phenomenal play, had some phenomenal numbers, and his play and DNA reminds us some of a player of the past. But the kicker, and no pun intended, but the thing about that is it has to be a player of the past for whom the past, the present, has forgotten. And because we know all, like I say every week when we do this, we know all of the people you know. But do you remember the people for whom did some things that you don't remember? And those are the people we give homage to when we do this week's Impact Name and Notable. Now, with that being said, who's your twin for this week? Or do I? You go. I think I went first last time.
Okay. My twin for this week is Steelers kicker. Well, my Steelers kicker, Money Boswell, Bankroll Boswell.
Bankroll ball.
And he's been around for quite some time, and he's automatic. I mean, if he misses a field goal, it's because you're asking him to kick from 65 or 70, which is not. It's though that's not something that's really gonna happen. It's that or he slipped because the field was messed up. He's money. So if the Steelers get inside, if the Steelers make it to the 40 or the 45, okay, he's coming out to kick a field goal if they
I
don't
know the
get the
feeling,
end
Jimmy.
zone.
I know the
Yeah.
feeling.
Now my twin for him, and because he's a kicker, a lot of people don't remember this name and they don't think about it. But he is a Hall of Famer. But the name that you are a fan of this particular team, the teams that he played for, or you're a certain age, or you're a football nerd, when you be like, who the heck is that? His twin, because he was clutch and he could kick the ball a country mile. And again, he was clutch. Jan Stenerud, who played with the Kansas City Chiefs and also, I believe, the Green Bay Packers. He was clutch back then. He was actually when they did show them on TV. I would actually watch them just to see Jan kick the ball because his stroke was just it was a thing of beauty. And you would see the ball going up, up, up. While it's going up and climbing, it was going forward, and generally it was going straight through. He used to split the uprights time and time and time again, and they would trot him out there to kick 50 yarders because he was good at it. He was gonna make
50
it.
yards was a big thing back then.
Yeah, yeah. So
Outside
and
stadium.
yeah, so I give it to Clutch Bankwell Boswell, his twin, because they had the same clutch. He had the same clutch gene and that leg, John Stenerud. And one more thing, as far as kickers, and we know, I think the kickers have gotten better over the past few years, and I believe that they do deserve to be paid more than what they're paid now, because kickers a few years ago, the NFL decided they were going to narrow the goalposts. And so their margin for error is smaller now than it was, like, just say 10 years ago, because it's not as narrow, the goalposts aren't as wide as they used to be. But you still wanted them to have that same accuracy and be just as good kicking the ball as they were when it was wider. And I think when you change the difficulty of someone's profession, I believe the pay should reflect that.
Like that. All right, all right. Well, shout out to Jan Stenerud and his new age twin Chris Broswell. Is it Chris? You called him
Yeah,
Money Bank, but
yeah,
it is
bankroll.
Roll.
Yeah, Chris
Yeah,
Boswell. Yeah,
Bankroll. All right, all right. Well, cool, cool, cool. As time ticks on, I'm gonna make this quick, and I hope. But I had to witness something, man, and I said to myself, boy, I got to give this little young man his props because he started out had me believing we finally got us one in a young guy, but
hmm
he came up off that interception and went nuts, and the fact of him doing this off of the week in which Dak was getting all that MVP talk, and he just took Dak out of the running, tilted it, reminded me of his twin, and I'm gonna give it to you when he did something for the first time in 2000, I believe 7 to this man. But my twin, this week's impact name notable for the week is Bo Nix.
he was almost mine. Yeah,
Bo Nix, and his twin is Jake Plummer.
that oh man, that was who I was coming up with. That was who I teetered between those two. That was who. Yeah,
And I twin that because, like I said, he shut that Dak noise down
hmm
the same way Jake Plummer came in and gave Tom Brady in 2007 his first ever loss in the first round of the playoffs with 4 TDs. So my twins are Bo Nix and Jake Plummer. So let's give a shout out a hand that we have twins Chris Bankroll Boswell and Jan Stenerud and Bo Nix and Jake Plummer are this week's impact notable for your shirt, sir. Now
that's crazy. I'm telling you, I was this close to Knicks and Plummer. I was this close.
you should have said it. Want to know why? Because now we gotta come up with the money for 2 shirts. I am not mad at saying, "Oh, that was mine." You earn it, but now you got to have us go find Jan Stenerud. I got to go find that spelling. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But at any rate, man, we after this second hour, and boy, I'm here to tell you, boy, thank God it's Friday. But we're going to just jump into it, man. Any last words?
Just, hey, y'all, enjoy this week's games. My last words will be Tomlin, you on the clock, buddy, because you have got to make some changes when in the systems in which the OC and the DC are what they're running, because the lack of discipline and everything. It's like this. They say if you're either coaching it or you're allowing it. I mean, the buck stops with you ultimately. We might have to get rid of both coordinators again because in order to turn over, because it's just not working. It's just not working, and I think that we put ourselves behind the eight ball because Rodgers is going to be gone after this year, and we drafted Will Allen out of Ohio State in the 6th round, and I don't look at a 6th round quarterback as being your quarterback of the future. So we're in the same position we were in last year, and needing a quarterback going into next season. And con man, you signed Marquez Valles Scantling, and I guess that's because Rodgers wanted him. But how many times are we gonna sign guys that aren't good enough to be on teams and start? We need you should have made a deal to get a legit second wide receiver. This season is a wash. I'm sorry. I love the Steelers, but I'm a realist. This season is a wash, and we at this point right now, after we play Indianapolis this week, we're generally just pissing down our leg and pissing away the division lead because
Y'all might beat them.
I hope we do. But Tomlin, you have got to do and get better, and you need to do it this season. You need to make some drastic changes. And one of those changes need to be stop playing 4 damn tight ends. Find somebody else who can run a route and who can catch passes, because it makes no sense whatsoever. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. All right, Tomlin, Mike T. Russell say you on the clock. Now I got a lot to say. So let me put my chapstick on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you got still there. I didn't know if you were still there because last week this thing will blink out. But at any rate, let me get right to it. Let me get right into it, man. Shout out to First Take, Stephen A. Smith, Cam Newton. That is a great thing. I think you're at Delaware State this week. You're going to be going down to the Classic in a few weeks for Bethune-Cookman game, maybe, I think, or something like that. Or you were at the Magic City Classic the week before. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing for HBCUs and exposure you're giving HBCUs on the national scene in comparison to the bigger, PWIs. But there's this thing about probably 1982 where, especially me going to school in Tallahassee, the school across the street, that you kind of saw. And I think it was Sam Bam Cunningham.
Yeah.
Sam Bam Cunningham. They said it was another guy before that, but that first one when you saw the black players, going into the bigger schools, leaving the HBCUs, and then you don't see any more Eddie Robinsons and Jake Gaithers surface anymore. I get all of that, and everybody's blaming taking all our talent. See, the thing is, when I went to the Magic City Classic, Alabama is a hotbed for football, and Alabama is a hotbed for college football. Alabama is a hotbed for football in general, just like Texas, even though Texas has professional teams. Alabama conducts its business of football without a professional team. And the spirit of football in Alabama is rich, runs deep. If you've never been to Magic City Classic, I'm here to tell you, man, it is probably twice or 3 times the size of the Florida Classic. Same atmosphere, but definitely a different monster, so to speak. They say tickets were sold out. That stadium seats Legion Field seats about 77,000. I think they still sold 83,000 tickets because you can have SRO at those games because traditionally, from a youthful standpoint, if it's a good football game, you're going to watch it. And then there are older people and traditional people who just want to watch the football game, and then, you have the youthful side of it and the eventful side of it that just wants to tailgate, be in the exterior part of the stadium and the interior part of the stadium and walk around the bowl. I'm not mad at that because I used to do it in my youth before I watched the game. But this game in particular, it was a rout, and it ended up being 49. Yeah, it was 49-6 by halftime. But of course, everybody stayed through halftime because the tradition of black culture in HBCUs is we're going to watch the Battle of the Bands. That's any HBCU in the U.S. Past 25 years, 30 years, since this transition of talent came about, 40-some years actually, a new culture of we're going to leave after halftime started. We're not going to watch the full game because we're not watching competitive football, right? So now, you got this NIL that's come up, and you got a lot of even before NIL, you had a lot of the pay under the table and all the kids and all of the facilities and all of these things that HBCUs weren't getting because the PWIs had them, because the PWIs had more alumni and more money. Well, I'm here to tell you this, man. We got to cut this out. We got to stop that excuse. And here's why. Because this whole culture of leaving halftime, I know it's 49-60, it's hard to stay at a game like that, but this whole culture of leaving halftime is hurting revenue. There's this theory, and I'm jumping into the NFL right now. There's this theory that Jerry Jones actually, the concession stands end at the third quarter, right? And Jerry Jones will keep a game close up until the beginning of the fourth quarter to sell more beer. I used to think that was a phenomenal hypothetical theory until I looked at the numbers. And then I started looking at the games a little closer, and I said, is he really doing this? But they weren't doing it consistently enough for me to say for sure if it was happening. But I almost guarantee you that there is a possibility that what happened tonight at 28-6 in Miami won't happen too much longer, because you don't want to lose, and the TV rights for the NFL is just something different. You've already made your money, so you don't have to make that money. But from where I'm coming from as far as the HBCU game, me and my cousin, we left that stadium, right? Where we were leaving the stadium. And if there were 83,000 people there, I'm going to say we were 2 and my family. So that made about 9 who went to the game, who left after halftime. This is a HBCU tradition. Whether the game is good or not, once the band's over,
yes,
time to get ready for the party. And you're asking yourself why you don't have this facility and you don't have that facility. Here's why. Because when we went under the bleachers, we were thirsty. Everybody knows that when you're on vacation and at a game, you're going to pay a little higher price. There's a markup. That's fine. You're supporting. But I paid $5 for a Coke. And actually, I said, you know what, cuz? I got you this time. So actually, I paid $10 for a Coke. Now, the truth of the matter is I paid $36 because me and my cousin both had a little extracurriculars to go with that Coca-Cola. But I said to myself, as he guzzled his, I guzzled mine, and we weren't even out of the stadium yet. We were thirsty again. I said, we would do that in the stands watching the third quarter. That might have been $72.
yeah.
So I said to myself, the 83,000, half of 83, I'm just using round numbers, 40,000 people in the third quarter bought a Coke for $5. That's 200,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's 200,000 just in the third quarter. 200,000 lost.
Yeah.
In the third quarter. How many HBCU games people leaving halftime and 20,000 people leaving? 100,000 lost in the third quarter. But your school can't compete. Oh, you want to blame the white man? No, I ain't even blaming the band. Blame yourself, because your culture has decided that there's no HBCU football after halftime. And when you do that, you hurt the revenue. And you don't look at it like that. Because if I'm not mistaken, 12 games college football, 6 home games.
Yep.
Third quarter, 600,000 a year. That's definitely a new rehab facility. That's definitely a new locker room for some recruit to look at. That's definitely some NIL money. We just talking one school.
It's definitely another uniform that can be added that you want to wear.
That's another uniform that can be added that you want to wear. All because you don't watch football after the halftime show. This ain't no white tradition. This black tradition. You can only blame you, because the Coke still gonna be $5. Whether you leave the stadium or not. I'm lying at the store, it might be $2.79. But still, that shit go to the school. And that's just the Coke, popcorn, t-shirt, all of those things. At some point, you got to blame yourself for what you keep blaming the white man for. If you want to compete, my cousin don't even go to HBCU games and say, okay, when is halftime? That's when we leaving. Because he know the culture.
Sad.
Traditionally. I don't care what y'all got to do as far as the SWAC, MEAC, referees are concerned, but y'all need to manipulate the game or something to keep them close. Y'all got to do something. Because there is monetary loss with this tradition, and you need to fix it. But you're always crying about what people didn't give you, opportunities you don't get that they get. Look internally at the opportunities you take away from yourself.
Yeah, that definitely holds water, because it does.
You know it happens. Every classic.
Yeah, and Let me just say one thing about that, and
Wait,
then we could be out.
you
That
I,
not only that, it but also if you got half of the stands pouring out, and these games are nationally televised, it's a bad look nationally, and it's a bad look as far as someone saying, "Hey, we're gonna broadcast the next one," because
I ain't
you
even.
know,
I'm not even talking about getting there on
yeah,
CP.
yeah, it's a bad look when they come back at halftime and everybody's gone or half the people gone. As far as because they like to show the crowds at all games, and now all of a sudden you got to pan down the field level because all or only one day area because everybody's gone. It's not good for television, and they
It's
do
not
want
good.
things to be visually appealing on TV, and empty stands are not. It's not a good
You
look.
understand? After halftime,
Yeah.
and even when you televise those games, they are well, a big tradition at HBCU, and I'm not taking anything away from the bands, but a big tradition at HBCU is gonna be the band, so we gonna stay here for the band. Stay here for that too, but don't make that the end all be all. But I see why you did it from a production standpoint because we did it too. You don't, yeah. You only deserve half when you only gonna stay there half the time. But at any rate, this has been not just another sports show live. I am your host, KD. Make sure you join us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, NOJASSSSHOW. On all of those except Instagram, which is THENOJASSSSHOW. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, email. What did I miss, Tank?
Twitch.
Twitch. Joe did miss Twitch. We on Twitch. Shout out to my Twitch people. But go ahead, man.
If you like the show, tell somebody. If you didn't like the show, tune in again and you'll like the next one.
Again.
And still tell somebody.
And still tell somebody. And then tell that somebody to tell somebody, as the pastor would say. But at any rate, man, this has been not just another sports show. Thank you for joining us. Look for the edit to come up in a few days. Tank, do what you normally do. Go ahead and salute these people. We are out of here. All your food delivery needs. Make sure you go to Light Snack. That's LYTE snack.com. And make sure for all your deliveries, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you visit Light Snack and they'll deliver it right to your door. And make sure when you get those deliveries, make sure you're ordering those Magic City wings. And remember, their motto, don't forget to lick the sauce. You just watched another episode of No Jazz. Follow us on YouTube at No Jazz Show. And make sure you hit us up on Twitter at No Jazz Show. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram at NOJ.A.S.S. Follow us on Facebook on our Facebook page at No Jazz Show. All right? See you soon.